Hello, everybody. Boy, it is 87 degrees today, so not a cool day. Although tomorrow I think it's going to drop below 80. Ooh. Right now I have a little fan right next to me blowing air on me, and the air conditioner is working like crazy right now, trying to cool the place down. It is just, I need to replace that. We're working on a few projects that are going to be in coming this year to the house because I told my kids and my wife that we don't want to move anymore. So we're going to stay here. So, in order to pass the house down to one of our kids, I need to bring it up to, code, if you will. It was built in 66, I believe, and has never been updated except for a few things. But anyway, enough of that. Welcome, everybody. We have 24 on board right now. And if you haven't done so, join us on the chat. Tell us who you are, where you're watching from. We usually get the same batch of people. Um, it's very difficult for a channel such as this to reach out to the multitude of folks out there and bring them in. This is not like other live streams that I watch where there's constant posts, constant chat posts, and the person in charge cannot keep up. They need a moderator to keep track of all of the questions and posts that people uh, put on the chat. Yeah, I'm glad that we're not that busy, actually, to tell you the truth. But anyway, got a text from Michael Lee yesterday. He says, I'm at the airport, actually in the U.S., heading to Johannesburg, South Africa. I said, wow, and you didn't take me with you? Gee, what kind of friend are you? Yeah, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm so glad that he's able to enjoy life finally. Work, 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 work. Yeah, it's good. Keeps you busy and out of trouble, if you will. But after a while, it gets a little old. And I'm glad that he's able to enjoy his life. Let me go ahead and close this so we can get to the subjects of the day. And Harold Davies, who is here right now, sent me a link to a video of a gentleman who has basically created a course uh, on how to use generative AI in Photoshop with all of the different modes that Photoshop includes. They're a little bit difficult to find, but I tried a few yesterday and it worked out really well. And I used a prompt. You have to be able to generate a prompt. I am not really good at that. Okay. So what I did was copy the one prompt, very long prompt. I'll show you what that looks like right now. You see this? That is just a descriptive term for one image. Okay. Yeah. So the different applications that are included in Photoshop take that, they analyze it, a set of instructions, if you will, and then generate what it believes that descriptive term or prompt should generate. And you will get different results depending on what different AI mode you use. And by mode, I mean Gemini, Flux, and you name it. So There's many, and then there are versions of each one as well. Now, the catch is that they require credits. Credits are little bonuses that you earn or you purchase to allow you to generate these images. So if it's just one credit, I don't know how much that is monetarily, but I was a little bit worried when I saw that one required 10 credits. And I'll show you what the results of that was yesterday. But I looked at my account because I am, unfortunately, I know people hate this, but I have to do it. I subscribe to the editing suite, if you will. So it includes all the graphic programs, pretty much everything, except for a couple of things like 3D editing or something like that. So I looked to see how many credits I had, and I started this month with 1,000 of them. So I am down to like 980 something. I think I'm okay, and I think July 7th I'll be brought back up. So no problem there. I can actually have fun with this and generate some images. But first of all, let's go ahead and welcome everyone here. Again, like I said, join us on the chat. Tell us who you are. Share information with the rest of us. This is a fun little pack of people. We love what we do, and we love to share what we do. Again, this is another uh, opportunity as well for you to basically tell us if you're having any issues, any problems. My prints were okay yesterday, and today they're doing this, that sort of thing. But also, don't be shy to share your successes. It's not all about, oh, I made a mistake or something is odd. Tell us how, nobody ever posts a comment like that on a website. They always, it's the negative comments that get posted most of the time. So, don't be shy to tell us how well you're doing. Show off. Come on, tell us what you've been successful at. Um, and then we'll share it with everybody here. So Nigel Waters is from the Wales, UK, Canon Pro 300 with all the trimmings. He was up quite early, my time, 7:15 now. We were watching the Trooping the Color ceremony in England, in London, on TV yesterday. It was fantastic. We absolutely are in love with the monarchy. Okay. Yes, criticize me all you want, those who may not, but we are in love with it. And we watch, of course, English or British shows, um, and just watch all of these things on YouTube. Thank God they're on YouTube, and also on the British channels that we subscribe to. But anyway, welcome again. Ron K from Trenton, New Jersey, Epson EcoTech 8550, Image Ultimate Lifetime, Canon R5 Mark II, and Canon 7D Mark 1. Welcome again. Richard Bender, another week of printing and prep for upcoming photo shows. 8550 keeps humming. Yes. And you are producing great prints with those great profiles you're making. I am quite sure. HZ from the Netherlands, now rainy and windy. Bring some of that weather to the west. Hit us with a little cooling weather there. We need it. Probably hot by the end of the week. My past week was rather stressful with no time to look further into print person profiles. EcoTech 8550 Pentax 4x5 camera. Well, that's what happens sometimes. He also says, I may or may not be here for all of the live stream. If not, I will try to watch the remainder afterwards. Hey, that's why they turn it into a video, and that's the cool thing about this. I don't usually sit through a live stream per se, unless it's someone I really, really like. And then I have to do it on the TV, so I don't have access to adding a comment. There's a way, but it's too much work with my remote, and I mess up. Sometimes I just log off accidentally. But anyway, I would have to come down, and then my wife would be alone upstairs. So I don't do that too often. Fred Bird, Ellington, Connecticut, working commercial, legal, aerial photography, all photographic restoration. Looking forward to another day of learning. Someday you should share your work with us. I am very interested in finding out what it is exactly that you do. What kind of photographs are you taking? Maybe you can do that in our Facebook group. If you join us, you can share with us your work, some of your creations. Kevin Bruniarski, Ellsworth, Wisconsin. Welcome, my friend, back again. Harold Davies, across Wisconsin, 8550, Pro 1100, PCSC, QMH, and Print Prism hundreds. Editing hundreds of low-resolution cell phone screen grab images for family memorial, something all of us. Yes, he just recently lost a friend, and we've gone through that. This year's been horrible. This year and last year, as a matter of fact. But anyway, welcome, my friend. Love you. I call him my brother, and he is allowed to call me Cheo. Okay, and I can call him by his family nickname as well. Steve from Germantown is here. Epson Ecotech 8550. Charlie Groff is here for a while. Gotta go shoot later. All right, well, awesome. There you go. That's what we should be doing, actually. Out there shooting photos. Nick Marmolejo from Deer Valley, Arizona. Epson Stylus Pro 3800, Prisography Pro Inks, Epson XP 15000 chipless, PCSE Inks, QMH Ultimate Lifetime 0-in-1 RAW, Photo Raw Max, and Sony Alpha 6000. Harold also says you asked for a positive comment, so we got plenty of compliments when I had to print hundreds of images in 3 weeks, also pixelated, fuzzy, and second generation. So I was successful in their eyes. Yeah. People don't really realize what you can do with a printer, even with like relatively low resolution images. I made a 13 by 19 one time of an image that should not have been. It should have been against the law to print it larger than 2 by 3 inches. And I did it in QImage, and it came out really well. I mean, sure, it wasn't, like pin size detail, but you didn't really see the pixelation that was there. If I had just done on Photoshop a Control plus plus, boom, pixels. After a couple of clicks, you will see pixels. QImage does an amazing up-resing job. All right, we got 31. Again, some of you have not said hello yet. Come on, folks, join us here, please. Oh, let's hit the like button. Thank you, Kevin. All right, so I want to show you pertaining to Print Prism. Let me put this tab separated from my main. I got to shrink it down a little bit. Hang on. Come on. God, why does it have to be that difficult? All right. So this is from Mike Chaney, the man himself. He just told me I posted a video of my outdoor little kitty cat. She's a female. She's been spayed by the county and then dropped back off. She's got half an ear. That way you identify her as a county spayed cat. And she's been hanging around for the last, I think it's been like almost 9 years. She was a cat that lived across the street, but she was also outdoor cat. And that lady had lots of cats, by the way. It really stunk by her house. And I used to do her lawn, so I know what it was like. But anyway, those cats have disappeared. She moved out a long time ago. And the only remaining kitty was Mittens. Mittens has white paws. She's kind of a gray tiger-looking cat, and she has bright white paws, thus the name Mittens. Well, she didn't let anyone touch her, including myself. So it took about 2 years of her trying to get close to me. And I would leave her a little bowl of food for her, a little bowl of water. And she would come over and sniff it and look at me and do this and back off and hide. And then eventually she started letting me pet her. Now she's my cat, but she will not come into the house. So I did a little video of me sitting on my steps, and she gets between my legs, and I have to pet her, and she's constantly meowing. And yeah, she's in love with me. She doesn't like ladies. She only likes guys. Myself, my son, my grandson. My daughter, nah. My wife, oh no. So really weird. So I posted out on my regular Facebook group, a Facebook page, I mean, and he saw it. So then he had to reply to me. So it started off about the cat, but then it got into Print Prism. So I already told you too much about the cat detail. But let's get into what he's just said to me. And I don't think he's here. So I will go ahead. Oh, wait a minute. Before we begin, Harold Davies says, I just picked up a used Nikon D85, D850 full frame camera. Wow, with 3 lenses. We were just hired to do another model shoot. Something unusual was their request. So any interesting ideas, anyone? Wow. I would love to be there with you, man. I would love to be there with you. I'm going to be doing a photo shoot for what they call a quinceañera, which is um, Latino girls. When they turn 15, they have to put on a beautiful dress and get their pictures taken. It's like the 16th, Sweet 16, except that becomes a party and such. But yeah, this is a little bit different. What did I just do? I think, oh, here we go. So, but yeah, I would love to do that. All right, so let's just read what Mike had to say to me. Just checking in, enjoy your kitty video, and then a smiley face emoji. Print Prism 210 is so stable and so done that nothing new has come up to make me change it. I did run into something that I think would make a good video. How to evaluate the test prints. Now, that test print that we used is no longer really available for download. I happen to have it on my Facebook group. But if you remember, it has a bunch of photos. It's got a bunch of diagnostic type images. It's got a central monochrome, is a electron microscopy type image, and a bunch of other transitions and color patches and such. Black to white ramp, you name it, all kinds of stuff. But the upper right image is kind of, to me, it's always been kind of a useless image. It's a VCR, I think, and then a CD, and I don't know. So he actually added physically an image to that layout, okay? And I downloaded it, and I put it on my Facebook test, my files patch, I mean, files tab. You can download it from there and begin to use it instead. I will be doing the same thing as well. I am no longer going to be using the original, okay? Now, they did a descriptive sort of instructions on how to analyze the image. But anyway, so we'll leave it at that. So how to evaluate test prints. I know we both touch on it, but there is no real primer for it. Under what lighting? How bright? I know you and I say things like the strawberries should look ripe and ready to eat and things like that, but that's totally subjective. So there are bigger ones like what is neutral? If you think black and white images look tinted, check them in sunlight first. There are things that stump people in our favorite test image too, like those gradients at the bottom. Look directly under the babies. So on the bottom, you see the gradients. Uh, those will usually may show a very smooth transition, just like you see it on your monitor. See, the thing is that what your monitor is displaying is not quite what the actual image is. You would have to have the world's best and best calibrated monitor ever invented to be able to see it as the image actually is. But of course, they use the monitor to create the image. So it's tricky. It's tricky. But the monitor, basically, let's just assume in our imagination that the standard image is way better than what we are seeing on our best, most expensive, most correctly calibrated monitor ever invented. So we're seeing a degraded version of the original image as it actually is. All right, so you look at the gradients and they'll go from full color to black or full color to white. And so there's a gradual change from top to bottom. You're looking for a gradual change on your prints. So for instance, and here are the transitions. So you're looking for a gradual change. Now, my camera does a horrific job because here I see color all the way down to almost to the bottom. But here it's kind of getting blown out of proportion. I think it's my camera's on auto or not on auto exposure. But anyway, and it looks tinted also, but it's not tinted, believe me. So you're looking for things like a band or an abrupt change in density. So it's not gradually changing. So many things. And you have to know what to look for. It's not just a matter of comparing your results with, say, a i1 Pro 2 profile compared to Print Prism. You have to know what the original image was supposed to be displayed like, okay, to be able to then say, okay, this profile is better than the other one or not as bad, not as good as the other one, okay? So you have to know what to look for. So look directly into the babies. People see 6 bars. On the left, red, green, blue, and another red, green, and another red, green, blue. I'm sorry. And another red, green, blue. Did you know that none of those are pure? Of course not. The red is shifted orange a bit, and the blue has a definite violet tint. So he is taking readings from the screen, probably using the eyedropper tool in Photoshop, and getting the actual RGB numbers. So these are not supposed to print red, green, blue. Okay, the red is shifted orange a bit, and the blue has a definite violet tint. So those are not supposed to print red, green, blue. So they're printing, like you said, a little bit off to begin with. Then, of course, there's the discussion about out of gamut colors. The sky on the rock arch is out of gamut, believe it or not. So that would be this image right here. And I have done a gamut warning, and indeed it is out of gamut. Portions of it are. Here you go. Let me see what I'm looking at here. Oh, you know what? Oh my gosh. Hang on. Oh, I was looking at this one. Well, let's just stop this a minute because I just realized something. I just grabbed these from the side here. So the upper one, you see, it has a bit of a tint. The bottom one does not. This is a print prism profile. This is OEM. Okay, and this is platinum gloss paper on the Pro 100. And it's yeah, there's a difference there. Wow, okay. So I just realized that. Let me I think I darkened it a little too much. I'm trying to get my right side a little bit brighter than the left side. Here we go. Now that looks correct. And as I look at them, don't trust my camera. This looks red, does not look orangey. They look good enough to eat. Yes, the whole, the whole thing that we say all the time. These, this one here looks a little bit orange. This is with the OEM profile. This one does not. You can see, maybe you can see the difference. But anyway, so when you're analyzing your test, do not analyze your images. Analyze the test print. Okay. When you're creating a new profile, always do an analytical, you know, setup between before and after OEM profile, print prism profile, or print prism profile against your i1 Pro 2 or whatever. Always do the test print and do it on a good high gamut paper, like maybe um, uh, Epson's, I think it's Ultra something uh, glossy, or Canon's the Supreme, Platinum Supreme, Platinum gloss, I mean. Um, because that will give you the biggest gamut you can possibly capture on paper. And then if you do a monochrome, or if you look at the monochrome central image and it looks a little bit tinted under whatever lighting you're viewing it under, these are supposed to be like calibrated for that. I forget what the color temperature was, 5500 or something like that. Go to a window where you're going to get sunlight and look at it, or go outside and look at it and see if you still see that tint. Okay, you might be surprised. Okay, the sky on the rock arch is out of gamut, believe it or not. I just don't remember any videos that go over exactly what to look for. Not videos. There is an actual website on their what is these something images in what Rick Johnson, not Rick Johnson, that's my friend in Virginia. Um Keith Cooper's um company, let's just say, has the analytical instructions, a chart. It's a web page that you actually go from image to image and look at it and analyze it that way. So, but there is no really good video out there that walks you through the same set of steps. So, thought it might bring a lot of views if you feel like doing one in the future. Yeah, I might do that. I've just noticed that a lot of people don't know what they are looking at. Okay, I've had a few examples lately where people show me an i1 profiler print versus print prism, and the print prism is clearly superior. It's just that the persons looking at it don't know how to analyze that image, because they don't know what the original image actually contains, okay, and how it's supposed to be rendered. So a lot of people obviously have no idea how to evaluate test prints. Okay, that's a little crass, but I have to agree. I have to agree. So we'll be checking that out. I hope that this might take me a whole week to produce, but it's a good idea. I think we'll do an analytical study of the standard image. But let me show you what he came up with. All right, let me just go ahead and load both images. I'm going to go ahead and transfer, well, copy and paste this new version into the test image section that I have. And we will open both of them up. Actually, let me show you what all my test images contain and how you can download them. If you belong to my Facebook group, you can have access to every one of these images. I'll give you a quick rundown. So, yeah, Northlight Images. So you see right here, they are the ones that create these images for you. This would be your monochrome one. So what I normally do is in QImage, I set my paper to 8.5 by 11, but then I go to print and choose 5 by 7, and I load this one, and then I load the actual one that we use, the version 2. So let me go ahead and switch to the next one. Now this one here is kind of a torture test for your camera. I mean your printer. So see this blue right here or cyan? It's totally out of gamut. If you view this in Photoshop in gamut warning, it all turns gray. So this is one that would test, say for instance, a P900 um, against a P800. The P900 has violet ink. The P800 does not. So it would have a hell of a time. I don't care how good your profile is, trying to generate a color that matches this on your screen. Again, these are murder right here. Oh, I'm not supposed to use the M word, but you know what I'm talking about. These are extremely difficult. And this is similar to the transitions, except they're just circles, spheres, if you will. You have black to white, cyan to white. Notice, I don't know if you can see that, but my monitor can barely do that transition. It should be transitioning, lighting, and it just abruptly becomes white in the middle here. Look at the cyan has a larger circle of transition, if you will. The yellow, gosh, you can't even tell. The red, okay, you can see a relatively larger. Here, green, no, it just blocks out. Okay, so everything here is out of gamut from my monitor. Okay, the blue, yeah, it can do that a lot better. So my monitor apparently has a greater ability or gamut ability to display blues from super saturated to white. Then we go to the opposite. That would be white to black, white, cyan to black, magenta to black, yellow to black, and so on. So this is, again, a torture image. This is a normal image. This should print pretty well. This has a few colors out of gamut. And here's your normal yellow, red, green, blue. I mean, yellow, red, green, blue, cyan, magenta. Here are your transitions. And you could print this. You can test your printer's ability using this. You can use this testing, say, your different rendering intents. Okay. You can print on saturation mode. You can print on relative colorimetric or the one that most people will use for landscapes, which is the, now I forgot what it was. You know what I mean. So the next one, similar. This is again similar. This is actually a good one to test your printer's ability to print sharp lines down to just a few pixels width and also transitions. It also is a good test when you're refilling to make sure you have no issues with ink starvation. But you can see right here the difference. You see how green stays the same and just barely starts to change here. Red starts to change right about here. Blue sooner, black a lot sooner. And you can see the same thing happens here. This is this is probably right here the strongest or highest density cyan my screen can reproduce, because after that, even though it's getting stronger, it just looks the same. The same thing with magenta. It just looks the same. It's not really getting stronger. This should be a little bit lighter than this, but on my screen, it looks the same density. So again, this is also a good torture image for your screen, for your monitor. This is one that you would literally have as a card and you put it in front of your camera as you're shooting something in the field somewhere. And again, I really don't know how accurate I am seeing this. Is this orange supposed to be nearly the same as this one? Or is this orange supposed to be nearly the same as this one? Is the image really have different densities or hues of orange and my monitor simply can't handle it? Whatever. So you would have this as a card that was actually printed with basically hand blended colors, inks on a press. Okay. So it would be, those are the accurate controls you would then attempt to see if your camera and your lens can reproduce. So you would put this in your field where you're shooting at, Take a close-up of it. Do not block the lighting. Make sure that everything remains the same. The light falling on your card, as well as the light that's illuminating your scene that you're shooting, whether it's a bunch of models or a landscape. And then you go back to your computer, you print this, and you look at the original card and you look at the one you printed. Yeah, you will see the differences. Here we have a white to black and white to black again. Right about here, things get pretty much the same. This one and this one are the same percentage of gray, meaning RGB in the same number, like 125, 125, 125, whatever. But yeah, lots of images, and they're all available in my Facebook group under the Files tab. This is another standard image. This is one that has been used by many other people. A lot more usable images, more like what you would expect to encounter in your shooting. Okay. Not so many analytical type images, such as this one and this one. It's just a different variety. Here's another one again. You can recognize some of these. They appear. This is the babies that are in the version 2002 image. Here's the live scene with the color patches, the so-called passport card, and so on. So all of these are available as a full R .rar file. You download the whole bit and open it and extract all the images. This is another good one. This is a good one because it has images that basically are normal. The stuff people shoot. Okay. And then you have some monochromes here that you can use to verify how neutral your printer is producing prints. Again, these are basically very close to what most people would be producing with their cameras. This one here is a low key image, and you should be able to see that man right there, purposely done that way. That cannot come out just blocky white. I mean black. You have to have detail there. If your printer can produce this almost specular highlight and still be able to see the edge of his face against the very dark brown background, then you have a good setup. I call it reaching nirvana. This is another version. This is one that I used to see Mr. Cooper use a lot before. And of course, this is the one that Mike just created, and he replaced that image with this. Okay. So he is suggesting to us that we then download that. I have it on my Files tab and use that from now on, which is what I'm going to be doing. Another one. This is a good one for exercising your printer. If you do not have QImage and have that automated scheduling type printer exercising, they call it the unclog tool. You can just use this and print it. I would go ahead and choose glossy paper. Just load regular plain paper, glossy paper, and no color management and highest quality. And do that once a week. And that would be sufficient. Here's another one. And I think that's it. So there you go. Download my set of standard images, and you'll have something always to print with. That way, your printer will not waste ink prior to printing, and it will not clog up on you due to lack of use. Once a week is plenty. I reduced the schedule for my Pro 1000 and my Pro 1 to every 3 days. We'll see how that works. Uh, I'll be down here around 5, which is when it's supposed to print, and I'll see whether the Pro 1000 throws a clean cycle on me. We'll see. I have to find that magic number where I'm not wasting ink doing every day, and one that does not produce a pre-print cleaning cycle. That may be unnecessary. Okay, Fred versus you asked about some issues we may have. I find that most non-photographic people do not understand viewing distance and the quality of prints. Yeah, that's for sure. Um, when the digital age became fell on us, just like AI now, everything on TV. I watch videos and I um, what was it? Oh, somebody was talking about a whether they filed with the IRS, and the narrator read it as ERS. And I thought, oh, that's an AI narrator. And it was. I looked it up and it was. So everything out there, and all of these new companies and all of these new tools that you can use, you don't have to even think anymore. And that is a sad situation we are in. Okay. And I really feel I really am worried for the new generation that's going to take over the world, because are they really generating what they are going to be forcing or doing or whatever onto the population using just AI? So basically, you should just have robots controlling everything, and you can just kick back and emaciate yourself because you don't do anything anymore. So I don't know. It's crazy. I still like to do things myself. You know, I will write my own essay. I'm not the best writer. I would write my own prompts to generate images with AI. Um, and if I think my prompt is not good enough, then I might tell Chat GPT to improve it. But and then I will read it and see where the improvements were, and then I will remember that. And the next time I may not have to ask Chat GPT to improve my prompt. You see, I'm still going to be doing it myself. And that's what I see happening every day. There's a commercial on one of the ads on YouTube. It's this girl, and then she's naming some kind of application. Can you make a financial plan for me? And she, all of a sudden, there's this, and then she's drinking cappuccino or something from her little coffee maker. Oh, I need a new cappuccino machine, and blah, 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 immediately finds it in Amazon for her, and transfer 300 from my savings to my checking. Oh my God, yeah, that's where we're heading to, folks. Eee, scares me to death. Would you be able to show any of your quinceañera shoot? No, probably not. I would ask permission if I'm able to. I think she will let me, the mother. Um, we were going to go to this grand park that we have here locally, but they charge, and I'm doing this for free as I always do. Um, and I don't know what the charge is, but she's not she doesn't make that much money, okay? And so I told her, just let's just find some place that is beautiful. And in fact, even the back of my grandson's woods would be fantastic, especially since it's going to be in October. We'll just find some place and we'll go some place in the country with lots of beautiful trees and whatever, um, and do the shoot. And so we'll see. I saw the dress. She took some photos of her with her phone, and yeah, it was. I fell over backwards. So this should be really good. She's a really fantastic young lady, just turned 14, graduated from the our local school right up the road from me here, a few blocks away. She wants to be a doctor. They come from Central America. They're immigrants, but absolutely fabulous people. I'm in love with the whole family. So, but anyway, yeah, I told her, of course, mi amor, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna go big time. Okay, whatever I have to do to make this work. Okay, I will be a photographic photo show. I will be at a photographic photo show, and someone talks about specific print looks out of focus and some other issue. Usually, the person is standing too close or too far away from the print. Yeah, um, and also I usually keep my mouth shut, which is not often. Um, as you know, I'm retired Army, and we go to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center for all of our treatments. Um, and in all the hallways, they have photography. They have beautiful pictures. Some of them they came from the old hospital, and I look at them, and they're big, big old prints. They're real. Some of them are actually real um, lab prints. Some of them are inkjet, the early inkjet era, 19 2010 around there, 15. Um, and I'll just immediately start analyzing, and I find all of these little tiny errors. And gosh, why couldn't you have cropped that really annoying little branch sticking out of the edge? Just cut it off. Oh, it changed my ratio. Oh my God. No, who cares? Nobody looking at this is going to say, oh, your ratio is different now. No, of course not. Yeah. So many little things. And that's what I do. And I know how far away to stand. I know how to analyze an image, whether I want to do it artistically, an artistic analysis, or a technical analysis. And then I keep my mouth shut, unless they ask. Unless they ask, what do you think I could have done to improve this? And I will say, how much time do you have? And then I will proceed to give them my more than 2 cents. But yeah, so it's really interesting that not only are we allegedly getting more people interested in this side of photography, where the Gen Z generation apparently became just digital. Too bad they landed when, you know, and then of course whatever you call the ones born after 2000, they don't know what, you know, analog anything is. Okay, everything is digital. They don't know what the word analog even means. Um, I'm so lucky that my grandson loves old technology. Yeah, he is an expert at new stuff too. Don't get me wrong, but he loves old technology. So I gave him. I had a. It wasn't even an old original one, but a little uh, LP record player. Um, the ones that you could find, I forget the brand, but you find them at bookstores and you can buy them and whatever. And I said, so have you been playing any records? He said, Grandpa, I don't have any vinyl. So we went to the used bookstore to see what they have. It's one run by the county here locally. And God, they want 25 bucks per LP, folks. If you have a big collection, do not get rid of them. Do not get rid of that because they are very valuable now. So I said, well, pick an artist that he loves the 80s. So pick an artist that you would love an LP of, and then we'll go back. You choose, and Grandpa will buy you as a present an LP disc, and then you can listen to your little record player. And so he is all for that. So we'll see. Maybe this summer he's off now from school, so um, we'll do that. But yeah, he likes the old technology. He wants all my old cameras. He I had an old Brownie 120 film camera where the whole back comes off, and then you spool the roll. He stole that from me. He took it. So I said, okay, take good care of it. He's got my 1892 glass plate view camera also. And he is really taking care of that. So he has it on a place of honor. So he's a weird kid. He's a strange kid, but I love him. I absolutely love him. And I will encourage him any way I can. So anyway, I sidetracked, didn't I? So let's go ahead and take a peek at the image that I just made yesterday. And this is from the guy that the video from Harold Davies provided for me the link for. Let me open this up. Oh, it's a PSD, so it's going to open up in Photoshop. Might as well open up for Photoshop. And I'm going to read just a portion of the prompt this gentleman used to generate this. And I only made one, and I think I used the one that took 10 credits. Well, let's let Photoshop open up here. Okay. And I did a little bit of extra work on it. I actually changed the color balance a little bit. Well, see that dog? That dog wasn't there before. But look at how well aligned the dog is. His paws are exactly on the surface of those generator boards. And the lighting, he's the part of the dog we're looking at is in the shade. Lighting is coming from this very bright area where the sun is setting. Yeah. And it's fairly, realistic. The prompt to generate that, however, was really huge. Hang on. You have to be a writer to be able to come up with this. And I'll just read a little bit of it. Wide cinematic view of a peaceful alpine lake at sunrise. Crystal clear water reflecting towering. It's very poetic. Snow-capped mountains and dense pine forest. Soft golden morning. It's the longest sentence ever. Comma after comma after comma. Light mist drifting across the water. Small wooden dock in the foreground. Blah, 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 blah. Realistic textures. Calm and serene mood. Yeah. Okay. So, and I did one. Create a panoramic scene that mimics a Victorian era oil painting with medium brush strokes and a serene landscape in the fall with families enjoying a quiet picnic while their Yorkie dogs are frolicking around the area. Show a large Victorian era mansion, medium distance in the background with a beautiful surrounding flower garden around it. I'm going to copy this because I changed. Originally, I used a Dalmatian dog species. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a peek at what that looked like. And I'm just going to go ahead and open it. And there it is. So this is going to become one of my paintings for October. Look at that. So again, this is going to be only 3 inches by 2 feet by 3 feet. Okay, in scale. So obviously, yeah, if you zoom in, you see the distortion, but it's okay. This is going to be printed on canvas anyway, and it's going to hide some of that detail. So let's just do a comparison here. What would happen if I use the new description, which is calling for a change in dog species from Dalmatian to a Yorkie. Because if I'm going to do Victorian, it's going to be England, of course. And what better dog than a Yorkie? So let's just do new and 12 by 8. Let me see where my, here it is. It's on my other monitor. The little controller. Now, here it says here generate image, but we're not going to use that. We're going to use a little bit different approach here. So I'm going to take my, let me make sure that I can see what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to click and select. Whoop, wait a second. I got to do it on my other monitor. I can't see what I'm doing. Hang in there. Oh, here we go. And select. So now generate image comes up, and this is better. So click on that. And instead of this, I'm going to go ahead and click on the edit and generative fill. Here, I am going to paste that prompt. I am going to use Flux, let's see, high res, and generate. And we'll see what we get. And again, if you're a really good writer, you can come up with lots of descriptive prompts and generate just about anything. Okay, so this is the same idea, but look at that. I got Yorkies this time. So what I did was I didn't like this this looks pretty realistic because most of those paintings, the protective coat of varnish is called Damar, D-A-M-I-R, M-A-R, and it tends to oxidize and yellow with time, and it just has this very yellowish look. So I'm going to do a very cheap, easy way. I'm going to go to image and just, there you go. That's it. So that's all I need to do at this point. I will go ahead and save that because I'm going to do the majority of the image later on. So I would just select that. Maybe you don't have to do that. You can just quickly save it as, let me see, save as. Save as. And I'm going to copy this one, add it to this. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have to do that. It's already there. And add Yorkies. Yorkie. That's it. That will differentiate it from the previous one. Boom. And now I can just go ahead and close that. Or I just remove it totally. What would happen if I just did generate image and just see what happens? Okay, I need to copy my prompt again. Remember, I went into edit and I chose something different, which allowed me to use a different mode. Enter, and it gives me an error. So obviously that's not going to work. Okay, so let's go ahead and select again. Generate image. I'm just going to do this what most people would do. which is that, and it gives you an error. So you have to do your selection, apparently. Whoop, right here. Do your selection and then go to edit. Is that edit? No. Edit right here and generative fill. And then here I'm going to choose, again, flux, high res. So this time, let's try another type of prompt. Photorealistic cinematic, okay? These I actually Googled and looked them up to see what would happen. Simply put, what would happen. So let's see what that does. I have no clue what's going to come up. Wow, holy cow. Oh my God. Look at that. You cannot trust anything anymore. Unbelievable. Crazy. Let's see. What would happen if I. Okay. That is not too bad. So that looks really like mysterious. Let's see what happens. Image. Okay, wait a minute. Click on that. Oh. It's telling me over here. Got a little. I had to click on OK. The same thing over here now. See, I got to do this every time. So here he is in a lightly, very brightly lit woods or mysterious. So, I mean, look at the detail, the realism of this. It's just crazy. Wow. Anyway, let's do one more. A vintage 1970s something. So we'll select that and override it. Wait a minute. And enter and see what happens. Of course, with me, I like to do scenery, not people. Okay. What was my prompt? A vintage 1970s candid photo of a group of friends riding bicycles down a sun-drenched suburban street, warm faded color palette, slight film grain, oh, nostalgic atmosphere, and editorial photographic style. Okay, let's see if anybody has 6 fingers. I saw that happen one time. Let me brighten it a little bit. There you go. You got to be careful when you look at like political related photos. Look to see if you see any defects because they may have just been AI generated to blame somebody for having done something they really didn't do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and a thumb 5. Again, that looks relatively good. Yeah, got a little bit of a wrist strap there. Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Okay. Let me, this one's going to be anime concept art. A cozy, minimalist Japanese tea house surrounded by a glowing cherry blossom garden, anime style, studio something aesthetic, magical lighting and pastel colors, highly detailed background. Okay. Shoot, I might actually print this for my grandson. He loves that stuff. Okay. Let me copy that. Did I copy it? Shit, I thought I copied it. Hang on. Control C. There we go. And enter. And I think I'm just using up my credits like crazy here, but it's okay. It's all for a good cause. Oh, wow. Okay. And then here's the previous one and the previous one there. Okay. So I have not lost them. Looks kind of dreamy, but I want a little bit more contrast on that, a little bit different style. So again, I'm using very simple editing steps here. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. That looks like an evening shot with the lanterns outside. Yeah, right about. Oh, oh my. Okay, now we're talking nighttime now. Look at that. Okay, this is more like it. Right about there. Boom. Gee whiz. So as you can see, folks, yeah, it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. You can just about make anything. I saw a display where they were showing like a bunch of. It was supposed to be. I was watching a documentary about um, locating tombs in Egypt and digging and all of this, and they showed imagery that the AI generated, and it showed a team of people around a tomb that they were, with the little brushes brushing the sand away, except all the faces were identical of all the men. Really crazy. Yeah, no problem. No, I am. I would have to ask, and but I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. I expected this to be a little too personal. We have a similar issue with shooting models. We frequently don't. Yeah. So I mean, this is just not going to pay me. So I don't know what kind of thing we're going to do with the images. Um, but I would ask her if she would allow me to do that. Like I can go through the process of editing one of the images because I can actually there's an editing mode where you can actually add a look. You can take an existing image and then under editing mode you can change it to a different look, change it to a nighttime twilight shot, change it to a blurry background with a vignette on the corners. Yeah, and it will immediately change that image, edit that image to look that way. And I have to experiment with that because I think for her, I want to make her look very glamorous. She's a cutie pie, 14 years old, and really a pleasure to talk with. She is intelligent. Has she's going to be It's going to be awesome for her because you will have a full command of Spanish and English. And in case you were wondering, if you speak Spanish and English, you can communicate with about 83% of the world's population. Hmm, not too bad. So it's something really. When I talk about bilingual, um, if you're able to master two languages, look at South America, except for Brazil, mostly all Spanish, 90 something percent Spanish. Central America, obviously, all Spanish. Caribbean, a third. Um, then you got Europe, Spain, um, Portugal, Portuguese. Yeah, a lot of parts in Africa, the people speak Portuguese. Yeah, but Spanish, even Filipinos can speak Spanish. Some of them can. But anyway, enough of that. Haha, I do the same thing in Long Beach, Virginia. Lots of wall hangers and lots of problems. Yeah. So is we are these jerks that go around and analyze other people's work and say, you should have just couldn't just see that right there is bugging the hell out of me. I'm not looking at your subject any longer. I'm looking at that because that's the type of weird person I am. So prevent me from being that annoying, pain in the ass, weird person. Crop that off. My God. And nowadays, if you don't want to change the ratio, delete it. Select it, delete, gone. It's amazing. There's no excuse anymore. Foggy day on the West Coast. This is Edwin, Pro 300 on the way to the landfill. Oh no, code 1700. Absorber pads full. One by another plan obsolete. Canon 8. Yeah, Canon. 8 viewers have not yet clicked on the like button. Come on, folks, click that like button. So it's unfortunate that that happened to you, and it makes me wonder. So Ed, please don't go anywhere. Tell me how many years you own that, because when my Pro 100 threw a permanent B200 error, which is printhead related, and I attempted to just exchange the printhead with a new one, not realizing that my carriage itself, the pins that contact the chips, was also malfunctioning. So I ended up tossing it out, but it never threw that code 1700. It was almost 14. Last August, it would have been 14 years since I installed it. So let me know how long you've had yours, because it depends. Now, if you print often, then you're not going to do pre-print cleaning cycles. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna check something. I haven't printed on the Pro 100 for a bit, at least three weekends. I haven't printed more than that possibly. Let me go ahead and see what happens. It's on. I'm gonna do a nozzle check. I always like to do things like that because, and you got to trust me on this one. I haven't fiddled with it, so um, we'll see what it does. So this is the Pro 100. I don't know about the 300. I don't know whether it's because it is a pigment printer and it has to do it more often, or what. In other words, the cleaning cycle strategy, shall we say. So cleaning, print alignment, nozzle check, print check pattern. Do not start another operation until the current one has finished. Okay, so it just started. Okay, it just began now. That means the print head is moving. No cleaning, it's just moving. Oh, it's just doing the pre-flight check. No cleaning. And it's been, I think it's been like a month. Yeah, that's bad. We'll let it sit. It'll do it when it's ready. But that's the thing. So far, I never had an issue with the Pro 100 throwing, you know, the 1700 absorber pads full. And unfortunately, what does the 300 sell for? Because, and I'm wondering, did you just not want to have a shop replace the pads, and then reset everything? Hmm. There you go. And it's printing. And it's perfect. So at this rate, um, those pads should last another 14 years. The printer will die first. One thing that I would like to bring up, and I'm using OEM inks here. You see these bars, and if you print this on glossy, it's actually a lot better, or better paper than this. Here we go. I accidentally printed this. Well, no, I didn't accidentally print it on glossy. I did it on purpose. This is on the Pro 200, so it's a slightly different system. This one just uses a bar, and it just prints dashes or dots across, and then the height is composed of how many active cyan nozzles, magenta nozzles, yellow nozzle, and so forth. This prints, the 200 prints a more similar to the Pro 1000 type setup, where just crisscross little crosses. And but one thing that everybody basically ignores until it fails is this: those bars, those black bars. Because had I printed this on a glossy paper, they would be a deep black. They better stay a deep black and neutral. Okay, if something happens, even though it will still look like it all the nozzles printed, there's an issue. Okay, so you will all of a sudden get a color shift, and that's when you take it to a shop, because you may be firing on all nozzles, but yet you're going to get a tint. Okay, even though everything else is okay, that bar is created with, I don't know how it does that, what inks is actually using for that, but yeah, so be aware of that one. Always look, don't ignore those little black bars. Oh, here's another here's another prompt that I did not print. Might as well. Jeez. It says a flat lay of organic artisanal skincare, something or other. We'll see. I wonder what that is. we'll create another blank and select. And then I'm going to bring my little bar. Where did it go? Right there. See, this disappears all the time. I'm going to go to edit and generate generative fill. And then we'll go ahead and paste that. And I'm going to use flux. Yep, it's still there. I'm blowing through a lot of these credits, but it's worth it. Let's see what that does. Oh, wow. So let's see what are these things. Okay, so that is a language that I cannot understand. But, you know, it's amazing. The rendition of the bottles themselves is quite amazing. The curvature of the bottles, the reflections on them, quite amazing how well that came out. Yeah. Well, I don't think I'll ever need those prompts anymore, so I will go ahead and delete that portion. We'll close Photoshop. So we are done with the experimentation of AI. I will be using the Victorian one that I created just earlier, and I will be making some printing those paintings. I just have to add a little bit more to my inventory for my show coming up in October. It's October 4th. Up in Frederick, Maryland, a little bit further beyond Frederick to the east. There's a little town beyond that. Okay, Print Prism Forum. So let's take a peek at that and see what people are discussing. So simply, you just go to the DDI software forum and we'll see what we have here. Move my cursor over. QMH Ultimate, QMH 1, Print Prism. All right, let's see what they're talking about. Let's see what people are talking about here. Introducing Print Prism. Okay, so that's Mike talking about that. So Print Prism versus i1 Pro 2 and Fine Art Papers. I gotta move this over. A few days ago, I bought Print Prism, order an Epson V392. That's a standalone scanner. If you don't have a 8550, you can just buy the scanner, and then the software will set you back about $130 total dollars. So you're set. I made Print Prism profiles for some matte and glossy fine art papers. I currently use Permanent Jet FB Gold Silk, Hahnemuhle PR Bright White, Hahnemuhle Fine Art Burita 3, blah, 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 blah. I still have a stock of original Burita paper, da, 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 da. I have to say that I didn't optimize the profiles in my i1 profiler, and I used only 1,000 or so color patches on 2 sheets to create these profiles. I then printed 2 copies of the data color test image in Adobe RGB. On A3 plus sheets, 1 profile with i1 Pro 2, that's what I have, and another with the print prism using custom color management in QImage Ultimate. I got the test print from the Northlight Images website, compared the prints on the control light, 5000K bulbs, and daylight, as well as to my calibrated D65 screen, white gamut. Across all papers, the i1 Pro 2 were a bit more saturated, most visible in the blue sky, but also in the vegetables. There's a lot of it. There was also a bit warmer tone, more yellow-orange in the color images, most visible in the portrait of the woman, particularly in the grass. So he must be using one of those images that I showed you earlier. There was also a bit warmer tone, more yellow-orange. Okay, okay, which seems okay. So he's seeing differences compared to the screen image. Oh, that's the one. Yeah, you see that? I showed you that earlier. Compared to the screen image with or without soft proofing, or YNView MP, the i1 Pro 2 profile color prints were spot on. The lack of saturation and yellow-orange in the color preprinters made the difference most visible in the grass. The black and white images on the screen were closer to the print prism profile prints. The cold bluish tint was not present on the screen. The deviate from the screen, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so the day after I bought print prism, I reserved a new paper for testing and tried to make a profile using i1 Pro 1 profiler. The i1 Pro Spectra was dead. No connection to the computer, neither. All right. If I can get print prism to compensate for the saturation orange issue, you save me a ton of money. Okay, so are you comparing the saturation of that, whatever you're talking about, shown on the screen, to what you got on your print? Okay. And remember, what you're seeing on your monitor is going to outperform what you're seeing on print. I don't care what you do. Okay, always. So if you do gamut warning, you can do all the soft proofing in the world you want to. Okay. And if you see a difference between both profiles, which one is the one that's more correct? Okay, the one that looks more like the one on your screen without soft proofing. I hardly ever soft proof. I just look at my results, compare them to the screen under zero soft proofing. If I have any doubts over colors, I will do gamut warning to see if anything turns gray. Okay, and the admin writes back. I am not a fan of any Northlight test images, as they often have poor coverage, range, and focus on narrow areas while leaving others out. I found this to be the most balanced test image. Bottom TIFF file right there. Let's see what that looks like. Let me go ahead and open that. Oh, I think I have to download it. Oh, so we're just using, yeah, my image, okay? And it comes in, I guess that's just regular, no zip. This is a sRGB, which no one should be using, and Pro Photo. That's what you should be using, not Adobe RGB, okay? So I think that's just the one that we're normally been using. It would help if you could print / scan or just take a cell phone picture of a 5x7 of that test image side by side with the i1 Pro versus PP profile. Yes. Okay. By the way, let me go back to me. I need to backtrack or digress, as they say. You recall last week I went into a forum I used to adore when I was also learning, and I think I was learning quicker than most other people were, so I became like the top provider for the forum. And then it just got out of hand because I had the proof in my hands. See, this is why you should do what I tell you to do. And I wasn't being an a-hole. I was just basically showing you how to do something and do it correctly, and to the point where it was boring every time because you knew what it was going to come out like. You knew it was going to be correct. Um, and so I quit. I sort of quit. Well, they closed it, and then they never came back for a while. And eventually they came back. But at that point, I just didn't want to go back and have to deal with this on a daily basis. Telling people they're doing this wrong. I don't know who the heck just told you to do this. They are also wrong. You're wasting time, money, you name it, and your sleep. So I just stopped. But anyway, the folks that are attempting to say this is better than this, like Mike just said in his private, sorry, Mike, I made it public, his message to me, they don't know what to look for. That's why I have to make a video how to analyze the standard image, what to look for, what to ignore, what cannot possibly be, you know, duplicated the way the screen duplicates it. So I spent hours. When was it? Day before yesterday? Or yesterday? Was it? Creating a video. Ended up being, well, it was almost an hour and a half, and I cut off like a third of it because I edited out a third of it because I decided to go into the forum. I wasn't showing you anything. I was reading everything. Uh, you saw me like this, and I was reading off screen and trying to deal with some of the stupidity that people were telling others what to do. And it was just driving me nuts because, and of course, I should have rehearsed this before. I should have pre-read and picked, no, I was doing it on the fly, and I was just getting a little bit way out of hand here. So after all that work and about 45 minutes worth of video that I could upload right now, I decided not to do it, not to upload it, because I think I would, not you guys, you guys and I get along beautifully. You guys know, but others may take it the wrong way. So I'm gonna delete it. Okay, it took a lot of work, but I'm gonna delete it because, and it's just at this point it's sort of like a lost cause where there's no way in hell I can reach out to those people. Um, they don't know who I am. They don't know who any of you guys are. You guys that know what you're doing. They don't know who Mike Cheney is. They don't know who. They know Rick Johnson. I mean, I keep saying Rick Johnson, my friend. No, they know Keith Cooper. Keith Cooper gets paid by Canon and Epson basically by providing him with printers that he has to sort of, not to be too rough on them, or he might lose that little gig, I mean. So anyway, so I decided, no, this is going to get out of hand. I'm going to make trouble for myself. I'm not going to upload this. But simply put, like he says right here, yeah, provide visual proof like I did here, folks. Right here. One is this way, one is that way. Pick the one you think is best. Oh, you pick that one? Let me tell you why you're wrong. Let me tell you why the one you pick is incorrect. Just because it's a little bit more saturated and looks good to you doesn't mean it's correct. See, there I go getting snarky again. Anyway, if this continues, I'm going to take off a month. I swear to God. Because, yeah. So while PrintPerson produces truth profiles, I've caught multiple spectral profiling tools boosting reds. Yes, on their own. The tools themselves boosting reds. And it could be because um, maybe the ink sets that these printers have are incapable of producing the level of reds that images may contain. One of the most recent, well, not recent, 15 years ago, was the Pro 100, the original Pro 100 original inks. They could not reproduce reds. So that's an example. Let's boost the reds artificially so that a printer that has the incapability, they does not have the capability of producing a true red, maybe can be helped. It could be that. It could be that. Um, so boosting reds, blues, or greens to compensate for the fact that most printers are shallow. See, I should have read that before I started opening my mouth. Are shallow on gamut coverage of those colors. Yes. And should I take Mike at his word? Oh hell yes. Yeah, I think we all should. Okay, let's go back. Stop being so snarky. Behave. This is especially true on non-glossy papers as those have limited dynamic range. So this is a case where a picture is worth 1,000 words. I really need to see what you're talking about. I haven't personally noted any difference in saturation and pop on those colors, but I don't have P900 to compare. Thanks for your reply. Below, 3 cell phone images, the I1 on the left or on the top. The paper is Hahnemann PR bright white, does matte. The difference in the blue skies probably also luminous. There's pronounced and was more pronounced on the prints than on the cell phone pictures, at least to my eye. And again, I have to say, which one of these matches your monitor? Okay. So are they, which is which now? I lost track. The I1 on the is on the left or on the top. Okay. Now, if I remember looking at that image, that girl right there looks undersaturated anyway on the actual image. Okay, let's see what Mike has to say. Yeah, hard to tell. I wish you would have printed the test image I requested. Yeah, not this one, folks. V002. That's the one you print. This baby right here. The other ones are okay. Like I said, they just have common images, more likely to what we would be producing with our cameras. Okay, you can do the color checker also. Gosh, what a great idea that would be. If I could find it. I know I had it out the other day. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. If you have a color checker card, you can use that because it has factory printed with a press with custom blended inks, color patches. You can check that, print that, and then compare the two. Okay, so the colors look more natural. All right, hang on. Hard to tell. I wish you would have printed the test image I requested, as the one that you are using really doesn't have any known references. like a Greta Macbeth. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Color checker, stepped grayscale, varying skin tones from dark to light, etc. The colors look more natural if the print prism samples are more goose in the other ones. But it is difficult to tell because things like green grass can have so many different shades. The blue sky and the print prism print looks more closer to what I get on my monitor for the blue sky. Since you mentioned it, the spider print one looks too cyan and bright. In general, the spider print does looks to have boosted contrast, not what you're looking for in respect to accuracy. Yeah, see, accuracy, folks. Accuracy is what counts. We're gonna just do this one, okay? We're not gonna explore any of the ones. I'll do that in private, just to see. Okay, so he answers back. Here you go. I hope you can see I had to downsize. I had to downsize a lot. Matte paper again, but there is no green grass in the image. There seems to be hardly any difference in the real world images. Maybe the Arizona image is a little bit darker. With print prism, the color patches are lighter. With the I1, particularly the top row, is more dense. Okay, they can match saturation of the screen, particularly the greens. No, you can't really tell that. This is almost fluorescing. When I look at my image, it almost fluoresces in a way. So you cannot, especially on matte paper, you cannot say that. The gamut of the screen is larger. Of course it is. So somewhat hard to compare, but based on this test image, I could favor the print prism profile. Oh, finally, to me, it's more important that the print matches the screen as close as possible. Then I can argue with clients. In the data color image, the I1 prints were just closer than I saw on my monitor. It's short as well characterized and calibrated. Oh, sure. For the gray patches at the bottom, this is more differentiation. With print prism, probably hard to see. Cell phone image. Okay, so you're going to look at this is okay, nice curly paper. So you're going to look at these. You're going to look here. You cannot see that in this image. It's like literally gone. Let me just go to me. Let me see if there's anything else I need to read here. Yeah, there is. But let's just go to me a minute here. We'll leave it right here. We're done with that. Yeah. See what I get is easily triggered. Okay. So this one here is Print Prism, but I don't even remember which version. So we're going to look at this. We're going to analyze this first. If I use Photoshop and I use my eyedropper and I look for any area that's 255, 255, 255, or a pure white. By the way, the histogram is completely even on this image. That is how wonderful this image is. Okay. From black on the histogram all the way to white on the histogram with even distribution of tonalities. You're going to look at those babies. Pardon this, okay? We look at these babies. We're looking in the shadows. See if the shadows still look the same color balance. In other words, they didn't turn bluish. Okay. I had an ink set that actually did that. It created beautiful highlight areas, but the shadows were a little bluish. This is that passport card. Don't deal with that at this point. You can enlarge that in your monitor and see that. I'm looking for banding here, abrupt changes. And then We all want dynamic range, right? We all want as dark and as bright as you can possibly reproduce on paper. Paper is going to cut off like 10% of what you see in your monitor as far as that range. So this border being white, no ink, whatever color that base is, is what you see. This might not be a pure white, but it has no ink. This is what the paper base is. So anything you add to the top will have an effect or be affected by the base color to begin with, or the brightness of that base. With a lot of OBAs, you will have a very bright fluorescent look toward you, and your images will look brighter. In matte paper, fiber based, no OBAs, it will look dull by comparison with the something like platinum gloss, which I believe is this. So these are out of gamut, but you look at what they look like on the monitor and you look at what you got on print and you want to see. So if I look at this, let's see how we can do this. No, maybe this way. Yeah, that might work. Should I curl it like he did? Yeah, here we go. Let me back up so it looks the same brightness right about there. And you look at the greens, check out this green right here. I have the same issue, but I have a better reproduction of those greens. So which one is which? I forgot. I don't know whether he said the left is this and the right is that. So I don't know. Did he say which is which? I don't know. Jeez. Okay, so here's PP. Okay, this is print prism. This is the other. Okay, so yeah, I got the same effect. I see the same tonal difference, and this is washed out. Okay, graduations. See how this, look at the way this is a different color altogether than this. See how this all the way to the central area, and then it begins to get brighter. And here is like, what's happening here? So you're looking at the ability of the profile to control how transitions transition. Okay, how steadily or how smoothly they transition without any abrupt changes. Um, okay, so another thing you would look at is here. This is 254. So I am going to get up to my light. 254 is one molecule darker than the border, and I can see it. 253, I can clearly see, and all the way down to 243. Then comes the dark ones. Let's see how good we can see those shades. Backlit it, and I can see 4. So yeah, my 2 just above black, just like 254 is just below white. That's gone. That turned black. It's as black as the surrounding border. So this has a surrounding border and then little squares in the middle. So I can see 4. Well, hell, that's as good as it gets, okay, for a printer on paper. I cannot improve that anymore. There's no way in hell I can improve that anymore. I cannot go below 0 or above 255. I am at that maximum range, and I did it on this paper. So how can I possibly complain? Um, let's see what this one shows. Let's see if this one. This is what OEM. No, I cannot see number 6. And number 54 is gone. 254 is gone. It's white. So this is better than this, simply by that little tiny difference. Let's continue on. Oh, I need a drink. Hang on. Should I upload that video? Would you guys like to see me in that? Oh, I'm getting to be in that mood again. And I don't mean to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the sweet guy. It's hard. Okay, let's see. This one, Harold Davies tells Edwin, we had the Pro 300 predecessor, the Pro 10. I just got over 1,400 prints before I had an electronic failure. Still the original printer. So we're talking about prints. What about the past? Was your Pro 10, Harold, was your Pro 10 ever throw that? My pads are full. My diapers are full. Type of error at you. Of course, I think about you, man. That's why I keep, saying your name. It's got to be. All right. Let's finish reading this, folks. Okay, they actually look extremely close. This is the admin. This is Mike. Green grass is historically a very poor indicator of greens due to the variation of shades and the time of day, color of light, and so on. I like to go by the green patches on the color checker card, top left. The greenish gradients under the kids look a little yellowish in the I1 profile, but as you said, not ideal judging the cell phone pictures. I use those more for relative comparisons. Sometimes when people say too much this or too little that, you don't really know the magnitude. For example, one user complained that a print was too blue. I didn't, and here's the thing: people call cyan blue. Okay, no, it's not. I didn't know until I saw it that I didn't know until I saw it that he was talking about the target, not the profile test prints. The target was all blue, like completely blue. His yellow channel wasn't firing at all. So that's the reason I asked for pictures, just to get an idea. Anyway, the one label PP looks like it had a tad richer strawberries, yes. Less yellow in the green bars, yes. Below the kids, and less orange in the red bars. Okay, 2 more. I won't put you up through too much more torture. Just this. Oh, by the way, Harold says that he never. Oh, well, you cannot. Sorry, you cannot. As you know, being a piezography ink user, you have to use a rip to print with, right? So I don't think Mike might be experienced at this. I'm not sure. You might want to go to the forum and ask him, but I don't think you can. If I recall, when I installed, what was the rip? The name of the rip that you use for printing with piezo inks? I recall you had to use some curves for different paper types, and mostly, of course, Epson papers, because you cannot use piezo inks except on an Epson printer. So yeah, I don't know. You might want to ask him. Oops, let again. We'll catch up in this evening. Well, thank you, my dear. At least you did not forget about me today. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. It's actually early out there. You're in Washington, right? Um, anyway, we're talking about okay, all kinds of different things that make me scratch my bald head and wonder, why do people do this? Anyway, let's continue. So he answers back, yes, mostly my observations as well. My cell phone isn't that bad. The green patches and the color checker seem to be a bit closer to the I1 print compared to my screen, but the prints are too small. Yeah, you need an actual color checker card itself. Later next week, I'll make one more comparison, bigger color checker image of some of my own pictures. I really hope this works out and the Spectra can take dust. And here's the updated test image with a lot of common references for green, yellow, green to the top. The test image was meant to be printed at around 8 by 10. So if you print smaller than that, the photos in the collage are a bit too small. All right, so he provided the image right there, which is the one that I added just earlier this afternoon to my files tab. So we got past just one. So apparently you can make a Mac into a Windows 11 virtual machine. So you'll be able to use Print Prism, but no, just wait for the Mac version to come out. All right, so that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and print something. We've been yapping too long. Now we got to print something. Let's do the prints that the one that I just made using that very, very long prompt. I think we should be able to find it. Hang on one second, folks. Desktop. Yeah, the one that I just did, the Victorian one with the Dalmatians, has a little bit different color balance. I want you to see this real quick here, because I didn't compare the two together. So you can see this one's a little bit cooler than this one. But this one I just recently made today. This has the Yorkies. Should we print this on? We can do this on say. Let's do something odd. Let's print it on metallic paper. Ooh, that should be weird. But before we'll do this one first. Metallic paper. Right there, and it's not cropped, so everything is included. Got a little border around it. We'll go ahead and do a quickie adjustment here. Exposure. What that does is automatically sets a black point and a white point, but just above. Not pure black, not pure white. So if you're printing on a printer that has an issue with gloss differential, say you're using third-party pigment inks, and your printer doesn't have a gloss enhancer, you may want to do that, because that will actually remove any specular highlights. So you will have ink even at those very bright highlights. And so you should end up with a bit of gloss in there instead of something that looks duller. And that happens all the time. Okay, we'll sharpen this. 1 and 125. We'll check to see at full size. Okay. Let's try 150. And let's try 2. We'll look here. This is what we're looking at, the results of the sharpening right here. So that's not too bad. Let me reduce that a bit. Okay. And at this point, we can decide, do we want any more saturation? What does that look like natural to you? The horizon line, I would like it more the rule of thirds, but we'll just go ahead and print it. Let me load some paper. That should look good on that metallic paper. We'll check to see if our settings are correct. 8550, Ultra Premium Pro paper luster, 5x7, that is wrong. I may have to redo everything again. Yeah, I knew that it was going to crop it more than that. Jeez. But can I get away with cropping? Let me see what would happen. Yeah, that's fine. I'll just fill the whole paper. We'll do a border 1/4 inch. And then we'll do 3, yeah. That's a score of 3 pixels. In luster, letter size, and metallic. This is the one that we created for. Okay, so let's print it. For the other one, I'm going to use matte paper. Let that baby load. It's taking a while. Somebody was having in the forum that I went to. By the way, let me know if you think I should upload that video. I was the same kind of mood I was today when I was reading this guy's complaints. Was mostly the mood I was in when I was reading some of those issues people were having. Let me know if you don't mind. I'll upload it. Why not? I spent a lot of work on it, a lot of time and effort making it, so I might as well use it. Otherwise, I just delete it. All right, so that is that. I'm going to go ahead and temporarily remove this and load the other one. And then for this one, let me do this is going to be without cropping. I want to include everything. Double click. This is the one with the Yorkies. Yes. G. It looks a little bit warm, a little too warm. I should have fixed that in Photoshop. I wanted to at least make it match my original, the other one, I mean. So we'll sharpen this. I think I used 2 and 125. Look at that full size. Yeah. Oh. Cancel that. Exposure again. And I want to increase the contrast a tiny bit. There you go. And apply that. Oh yeah, that looks much better. Much better. Okay. The next print will be on matte paper. And I should have made already a paper profile for that. Presentation paper matte. And here it is. 210 print prism. Yep. And when I want to not crop it, sorry about that. There you go. There you go. We'll just print it as is. So this one I'm going to make as art. So I'm going to be making some prints. Maybe I'll use the Strathmore paper, the linen paper on it. The variety of types of rooms that people create in miniature tend to sway toward the period type style, Victorian, Queen Anne, that type of style. This is still printing. Yeah, quad tone rip. Quad tone rip years ago, but have never tried Pisography ink, so I don't know if it would work. No, you have to use quad tone rip, and then you have to use curves. Yes, that's what I remember. They used to have these courses that you could attend and spend the weekend with them and learn how to use Pisography inks. Wow. Boy, does this look metallic. Because it is. So, yeah. Let me load that image. Yeah, the metallic makes it look a wee bit more saturated. Gives it that pop. It's just it's a property of the paper. The border is not white. Oops, I screwed up. See that? That was my mistake. 5x7 on 8.5 by 11. See that? I did not change that. Luckily, I have another piece of paper there. Now we can print it correctly this time. Make sure my settings are still the same. Yep. Okie doke. I never keep anything that is incorrectly done. So I have a bag full of paper here that I always throw out because there's no point on keeping mistakes. At least that's my viewpoint. This is crazy. I cannot load that yet. Let's just take a quick look at this. So obviously, if you were going to be, say, creating a profile using this paper, you would print a standard image. That would be the proper way of like analyzing your resulting profile. Use a control. This I don't think this paper or this image sort of works with this paper too much. Um, I like it, but something a little bit matte or semi-gloss would have been a better with a little bit of texture on it. More of an art paper. But you can see the dog. It's amazing how well that was reproduced and just added to it. It the dog looks like it belongs there. The other options, the other because you can get it to reproduce three versions of something. They had the little bridge or whatever you call that off to the side. It didn't look natural to me. So this is the best one of the three. Well, there you go. So yeah, you do have print things you can print. If you have Photoshop, no excuse. There are things you can print. There's no excuse for saying that I don't have anything to print, so I have to let my printer sit. No, not at all. Yeah, this might work. I'm getting a weird effect here. Oh, I gotta do a nozzle check. I'm getting a weird. I think I need a nozzle check. I'm gonna use the back of this. Make sure that all my inks are full. Yeah, I got plenty of inks, but I think I have an issue here. Maintenance, nozzle check. Let's see what I think it might be yellow from what I can see. Yellow might not be firing on all nozzles. This is extremely rare, folks. Yeah, you cannot see that, but my yellow is not fired completely. So we'll do a cleaning cycle. So I tell it, no, it is not firing on all cylinders. Just going to do the 3-minute cleaning, and we should be good to go, I think. I certainly hope so. Again, it just doesn't happen often, hardly ever. I think I will upload that and just give it a little warning. It'll include a little warning in the post so people know that I was just in a hell of a mood that day. I try to, I try to be as honest as possible with people, and so I think that just brought back memories of what I went through and the criticism that I was getting, especially with another forum um, where I was basically accused of monetizing. Yes, I had a video channel. Who doesn't monetize? Yeah. So they were blaming me to I don't know for what. Um, When I gave them some information, you went ahead and did that, and your problem was solved. What more do you want? What are you complaining about? And if my video was monetized and I made $1 a month on it, you know, really, you're mad at me? Yeah. So I think that's what happened, and I sort of walked away from that. So once that stops doing its thing, we'll go ahead and print. It's printing now, actually now. So if we get a full yellow, then we'll go ahead and reprint this. Well, now the other color is not printing. What the heck? Now cyan is not printing. Yellow's not printing at all. Well, I'm going to deal with this off the air. I have no idea what's causing this. I'll just have to figure out what to do a bit later. Okay, so let me load my farewell stuff. And my video. So anyway, I'm glad to hear everyone's having a at least mostly issue-free experience with your printing, as I assume that is the case. I don't know what happened. I left the page. So let me go ahead and set up my screen share. I must have pressed the wrong button. There we go. All right. So anything else you guys want to talk about? Discuss, whatever? Let me go ahead and tell it to do another cleaning. By the way, someone stated that something about, I saw a video where it was like, I knew immediately once I started hearing the narrative, I knew this was one of those stupid videos that they're just fake. So they were using a lot of AI generated imagery of a printhead spewing ink out, and they were complaining about these types of printers having a end of life situation when their absorber pads became saturated. Well, there are no absorbent pads in these printers. They use user replaceable cartridges that cost $15 at the most. Okay. So your 8550 is not going to die from doing cleaning cycles like I'm doing here. So again, just passing out incredibly stupid information. Just be aware that there's a lot of BS out there, and don't get fooled by it. If you need to replace that cartridge, you either buy a new one or buy the material to replace the internal pads from Rick Johnson and buy a chip. Total cost will be less than the actual price for a new cartridge. Or if you do like me, he provided me with a resetter. I can reset the same cartridge and reuse it because it's not going to be super saturated even when it is declared saturated. One of those things. All right, I think that's going to be it. Anyway, it's been a rough week. So thank you so much, you guys. And until the next time, happy printing, everybody. Bye bye.